You should be barricaded in your house and kept off of the street for sterilized, lobotomized, left in a car in heat. Cause the things you say and do tell me your brain cells are with you, and that is why I hate you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you heard the intro theme, because we can't hear it. Joaquin and I are here recording together in the same location for the first time
Trying to figure this shit out.
ever. Yeah, we've been trying to figure out how to make it not sound terrible, and I'm hoping that we succeeded at least somewhat. So if this sounds kind of weird, that's why. We'll do better next time. Oh, I still have my squeaky chair too.
Oh yeah, that's better.
I didn't bother to fix that problem. What a fucking idiot I am.
The gift that keeps on giving.
I think people have grown to love it. It's important. Oh boy, I'm looking at the wrong. This isn't the right list.
Oh no,
I'm looking at the wrong list of podcast notes.
Fuck,
you're
messing it up.
Oh boy,
you're just messing up everything.
Well, you know what? I think the first thing we need to talk about, and the most important thing, is your ordeal. So, do you not want to talk about that on the podcast?
Oh no, I'm perfectly fine with it. It's just it aged me like 5 years.
Yeah. So I'll set the scene, if you will. Joaquin, we had a big major storm a couple weeks ago. This is kind of why we didn't record last week.
Yeah.
I say that when there's often weeks we don't record, but I'm going to use it as an excuse this time. We had a big storm, really big storm. It was crazy.
No, it rained for like 3 days.
Yeah, and it was like torrential,
heavy
rain, thunder, lightning. I lost power like 6 fucking times.
Same here.
And I was like all upset about it. And then I heard your story.
So
poor Joaquin had a fucking tree fall on his fucking house and like take out the upper bathroom in the upper bathroom, the upstairs bathroom.
So this is the extent of the damage. So this motherfucker, first of all, I know everyone, when my wife posted it online, their first concern was, oh, did you save the bees? Because that tree was 92% beehive.
Yeah, that... when you told me that people were like more concerned about the fucking bees than your family, it just made me go, this is why we do this podcast.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, this is why I hate you. I get it. They're a great resource. I normally would be like worried about the bees too, but you know what I'd be worried about first? The fucking children who's only lived like 6 to 8 years.
Yeah, it's just so silly to like. I get it, like you said. Like I know bees are like there's a bee problem going on right now, and I mean kudos to you for well, it wasn't technically your yard, but kudos to you for having a gigantic hollow tree just fucking filled with bees. It's like the thing of a nightmare.
It is so weird to see that fleshy honeycomb inside of a tree.
We're gonna have to post a picture because the picture of the like. I couldn't tell from the photo, but those honeycomb looked like they were like 4 feet long each.
They were longer than I am tall.
Yeah, so they're even bigger.
And on top of that, that was only half of the tree. The other half was still filled with bees, and they were pissed. They were getting rained on. We had to call a beekeeper, and that took her about a couple of days to get the fucking bees. I don't even know if she got the queen. I have no idea.
Yeah, I wonder how they track that down. Even.
I spoke to her for about a good. I got a good discovery lesson on how they do that.
Did she explain?
And, like,
I'm curious.
I understand. Like with honeycomb, the lighter the honeycomb, the further away the queen is. The darker the honeycomb, that's where the queen is. That's where the queen's chamber is.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes a little sense.
So it's usually like buried underneath everything. But the way they layered the honeycomb, at least in this tree, was like it looked like a goddamn city.
Yeah,
it was just layer upon layer of honeycomb and then some wood.
And I only saw the picture. I didn't see it in person, and it looked fucking nuts.
Yeah,
in the picture. But yeah, fuck people for being more concerned about motherfucking bees than they were about the safety of you and your children and wife.
And this is how much of a bitch Mother Nature is. Like the storm was going on, we could see the lightning in the background. My wife and I were talking, and the lights go out, and then some lightning goes off in the distance. I'm like, this is an incredible storm. Like I just said that this is an incredible storm.
It was.
Because it was. And the lights cut back on. My wife looks at me and goes, did you turn on the air conditioner before it started? I went, no. It's going to be hot in our room. And her and I have a chuckle. Then the lights go out again. And I'm like, this storm is amazing. We needed that. Boom! As soon as I fucking said it.
So you were awake.
My wife and I were the only ones awake.
Oh, so the poor kids were
dead asleep.
awakened by...
No. No,
they didn't wake up.
my fucking gremlin slept through it. But the house shook, the shattering. We thought the windows shattered in, and we both looked at each other as like the fucking Home Alone. We went, the kids.
Your wife said it sounded like an explosion.
Yes, we dashed upstairs, and we go in the kids' room. Quiet. They were just knocked out. So I wake up my daughter, who wants to know everything. And she's like, "What's this? What's that? Can you? What are we doing? Why are you waking me up? What's happening?" And I'm like, "I get it. You're worried, but stop being in the way."
I have to. I'm going to move my camera a little bit. I have to assume that for a kid, that's got to be like a traumatic event.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Not just the experience, but like everything that's now coming after it, having to like leave your house and live somewhere else for a while.
The whole dejection, like the ejection of like being ejected out of your house and not being able to go back, is something that COVID, being trapped in the house, was already a traumatic event. Now the opposite is happening, where she can't go back to her house.
Just thinking about, like, even just when the kid, like when the fucking lights, the power goes out, it's like the kids are like terrified of everything going on. It's so weird that there's no power and it's so quiet, it's dark, and they can't do the things they normally do. But like it's like that to a whole other level now.
Well, I have like industrial like LED lanterns, so luckily my daughter got to hold one and she was fine. My son would not fucking wake up. He just he just could not.
It's like
he hit REM and that's where he was.
It's like, it's sleep time. I'm not
like
dealing with that
the
shit.
The time he woke up, he was in his grandparents' house. Like he was just not there at all. Like I was like, buddy, I need you to put pants on. And his little legs kicked up, but his eyes didn't open. His upper half didn't move. My wife is panicking. My wife's like, I'm going to do this. And panicking so bad that she forgot to do the thing she said she was going to do.
Yeah.
And, she's like a very like, authoritative personality and I'm not. So if I get in her way, it'll annoy her. And the fact that she's panicking only makes it worse.
Yeah, I get it.
So
definitely get it.
I'm trying to like go on behind her, but I can't. And I'm already trying to swallow down. Like, funny enough, I am nervous about everything. I talk about my anxiety all the time. I'm always anxious, but I thrive in emergency situations.
I get that from you.
I level out, and I work on high efficiency in emergency situations. And I rarely panic in that moment, and then I'll panic afterward.
No, well, but that's a good quality to have, to be able to focus and get one what needs to be done, and then deal with the emotional aspect after everything's been resolved.
I wish I learned how to just handle stuff after. I just know my body decides.
Yeah, it would be nice to just be able to deal with it after the fact too, instead of just delaying it. But
so, everything happens. I tell my wife, call your father. She's like, how am I going to just try? And she was able to get through to him. Then we called the fire department, which they're literally across the street.
I was going to say, they're right across the street, so that's convenient.
But I think they missed our house at first because there was no power. There's no lights anywhere.
Yeah,
our house
and you're kind
vanishes.
of back a little bit, and there's trees in the front. Yeah, I can see that.
So all of this is happening, and it's been almost it's been 2.5 weeks that we've not been there.
Right,
mind you, a week from when that happened, I was supposed to go to a memorial in Pittsburgh, so I had to drive 6 hours by myself to this memorial. And then 6 hours back.
Yeah.
So I was already having the weight of that emotional situation going on.
How'd it go? Was it?
It was.
Did it feel cathartic?
It felt like an ending.
Good.
It did feel like an ending. Just meeting with everybody who was connected to my friend who passed. I mentioned him in an earlier episode.
Right.
I was
going to say this was like early episodes we were doing. Mm-hmm. We had talked about this, so this is the same.
So I got a little bit of that closure. I do realize that. Why I didn't like anime conventions as much as I do. I don't like anime conventions, but I used to go to a lot when I was younger.
Right.
But I realized why I was off put by them. I don't hate people who go. Don't get me wrong. I just don't like people. And
True.
In anime cons, people are just too comfortable. Or I can't say too comfortable. It's weird. It's like you're comfortable, but like, for instance, you'll wear a costume that has your ass cheeks hanging out.
Right.
But how dare anyone like make comment to
don't get me started.
And that's not just women, that's dudes too. There was a guy
absolutely.
Like dudes who wear Deadpool costumes just feel like they could fuck with anybody. I'm like, no, asshole, don't touch me. Like,
what,
it's just,
dude, 100%. Once they put that costume on, they feel like they've embodied the character, and they can just be
yeah.
that person. And they don't. I don't know how people don't realize that, like, that's fiction. Like, you're embodying a fictional character. We talked about it before with the Punisher logo. Like, I hate
Oh
people
yeah,
that like
try to embody
they try to
that
embody the Punisher logo as their personality,
don't.
especially when they're law enforcement or something.
Which is the opposite of
Right.
Punisher.
We
Yeah,
talked about it. I don't want to
yeah.
go into that
Sorry.
anymore, but it's just like the same thing. It's like but yeah, and like, okay, I'm gonna get in trouble here. Like,
Maybe.
the women that dress in like really really scantily clad stuff and go to these anime conventions, I like, yeah, sexual harassment is
It's
still
still
an
a thing.
issue.
Yes,
still a
there
thing.
are rules and understandable.
But I mean, you guys are gonna look at you, you know.
That's what I find. I find it really weird, and I find it very uncomfortable. I guess it's because it's when I went before, I was single and younger.
Yeah.
Now I'm a grown dad
You're,
person.
like, trying to
So
avert your
somebody
eyes.
who's like early 20s.
Yeah.
Are we even close to the age where we could be the father? Like,
Yeah,
fathers to
we
these
are.
people?
We fucking are.
Holy
Dude,
shit!
I thought about that the other day. I was going into a pharmacy. I told my wife about this. I was going into the pharmacy, and this girl came walking in, and she looked like she had OnlyFans. Like,
Yeah.
she was wearing wearing
God.
this really tiny, tight green dress, and like was just all done up, and it was
Mhm.
just she. Like I said, like, you got the description, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, I could 100% be her father, like 100%.
Yeah,
She might. I mean, I would have been a young father, but she's probably in
And
her
mind
early
you,
20s.
it's not even like an shame, like I'm trying to shame you because I can be
No.
your father thing. It's actually on the other end, like
Shame myself.
Yeah, you are like, my natural instincts as a male are just going to be like, ooh, pretty,
Right.
but I feel gross at the same time because I am
So
old.
So gross.
Gross. And like, this is your time. I should be like backstage. I shouldn't exist anymore.
It totally made me think of, because we happen to be watching through. There goes the dog. Ignore the dog, folks. We happen to be rewatching 30 Rock from the beginning for the third. It's my favorite show ever. So this is our third time, I think, watching it episode to episode all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one episode where Tracy Jordan decides, and I got it right that time, not Tracy Morgan. That's the actor.
That's his real name.
Tracy Jordan decides he wants to have a daughter, and there's one point where he's sitting there, and some of the dancers for the show walk by, and he's like, "Ooh, look at you, baby!" And the girl comes over, and she's like, "Hey, Trey," and he's like saying something. He's like, "Wait a minute." Oh, she says something about her dad. He's like, "Wait a minute. You're somebody's daughter? Are all women somebody's daughter?" Oh my god! And he starts freaking out about it. This is the funny shit.
God,
But that's how
like
I
the
feel.
reality
That's
hit.
how I feel.
Like, you're done with that portion of your life.
Yeah,
but that stupid idiot inside of you is still there.
So you did go to the anime convention?
Because that's where it was his favorite convention to go.
Right,
so
right.
they decided that that's where they were going to do his
Oh,
memorial.
I forgot. You put all that together for me before. I just
Yeah.
don't remember.
So, I haven't been in so long. I didn't think about any of that stuff. All I think about is the role playing table and the game room. Those are the only places that matter to me in a con.
No, that makes sense.
On top of that, I forgot the con smells.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, to be clear, the last time I went to I went to Comic-Con in New York when I was like 22, 23. Yeah. And it was I actually went because I was working for media, Suncoast at the time, which is Musicland was the group. Media, so they had a booth there that was an anime. It was for some anime
Suncoast
thing.
Is big on anime, like distributing anime. Anyway,
well, it was like a co-sponsor. So like, I went as a representative of Musicland, and then there was like a representative from the production company there. There's this guy and this woman there. But I walked around, and it was just like fucking nuts. I mean, there's all kinds of people in these weird costumes, and I didn't know anime at all, so I'm like, I don't know any of this shit. But there were just lots of famous people there. There's so many porn stars there. The amount of porn stars there was
Comic-Con actually was apparently really big for that. Like,
yeah, it was
like
weird.
Before they had their own con, like 18+ cons.
I didn't understand Comic-Con why there were so many porn stars there.
I actually watched a documentary that kind of explained, in a way, that it's because they a lot of panels, not panels, but the booths, they would hire porn stars as models to dress up as the characters, to do these other type of things. So they were a draw. and then they just started promoting
That
themselves
makes sense.
in those same locations, and then they having their own cons and Comic Con still being a part of them. So they're just purely integrated at this point. Not to mention, comic book fans are lonely as shit.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I
Like
think
being a comic
the
book
two.
fan, I get
I
it.
think a lot of times there's a lot of overlap. I think that
Yeah.
Venn diagram is closer to a circle than
Than
a Venn
you
diagram.
think or want to admit.
Yeah. So that makes sense. No, that makes sense though.
But yeah. So, and mind you, I love the craftsmanship of making costumes. Like
Oh, me
there's
too.
people that built some crazy shit. Somebody we kind of made fun of this girl or whoever they identify as because they sure probably are that type of person.
Yeah.
But they built this costume that looked like a World of Warcraft character, but the wings were fucking huge. And one of the people that was in our group was just like, they should have built it so the wings could close. I'm like, no, they're just going to walk sideways into every door.
Yeah.
And that's literally what this person did. Every time we saw this person walking in and out of a door, they were walking sideways because they had a width the size of like 6 people.
I wonder if
like,
they thought about that before they got there, or they got there and went to walk through the first door and were like, fuck. Yeah, it's I same thing. There's a couple folks I follow on Instagram. One's Universe of Emily, World of Emily, something like that.
Right.
And she doesn't, and it's not like one of those you think. She doesn't just do like sexy cosplays. She does like legit, really cool, awesome, fully custom built costumes. Like she did like Mandalorian costumes and stuff. And that's how I found her. She had this really, really, really good. I don't know if she was Bo-Katan or some other character, but she was a Mandalorian. Had this amazing custom made 3D printed outfit.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a couple that the stuff
the
they make.
Craftsmanship on a lot of work
people
is
that
crazy.
make like full Iron Man suits, just all 3D printed, and it's crazy.
One
the
of the
amount of time.
Things I saw was I forget the anime convention, it was years ago, but there was a girl, really tall woman, blonde, in a Samus costume. The reason why I say that because she looked how you would imagine Samus would look like under the suit.
The high ponytail.
But she had the costume underneath, but her main costume she had a crew of people with her.
Was she Zero Suit or was she
both?
Oh,
she had the Zero Suit underneath the armor because the armor was heavy in real life.
Oh, I'm
so
sure.
she had like 3 people with her. I call them a crew that would carry pieces of her armor when it became a little too much.
Right.
Or if she needs to drink, they'll hold like the gun arm so she could like.
And then she just converted to Zero Suit when
and then,
she needed
to.
If
it became too hot, because I remember seeing her later on in the day, like her pieces were off. They should probably stored the rest of the pieces, and she was just Zero Suit. I was like,
which is equally cool.
And you could see the parts where it attached to her Zero Suit. It was like in the pink areas she had like Velcro to attach the pieces.
Was the Velcro like colored to match?
It was colored to match the suit.
Cool.
I was like, that was super fucking creative. I loved it.
I literally like 2 days ago replayed and finished Metroid Fusion.
Okay. Fusion was really good.
It was.
I think the ending was really dope. That's what sticks to me. The ending.
Yeah, it was really good though. The ending was good. It was a good game. It was a really good game. It was crazy hard though, because I decided I was going to play. I went through a while ago and I played through all the Legend of Zelda games. I went through all the Assassin's Creed games, and then that's my new thing. I was like, I'm going to go through all the Metroid games. I only played 1 or 2 of them. Like there's a bunch. I didn't even know how many there were.
There's a lot of Metroid games.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about video games.
Well, yeah, going back
to the tree.
So I had to do the memorial, living at my in-laws' house, which you already know that's always fun for sitcom shenanigans.
Like I said, I told my wife, like I love my in-laws and everything, but I don't know if I'd want to live with them for any extended period.
I live in a room with my cat, my 2 kids, and my wife, where my wife and I sleep on a mattress in the middle of the room.
Whew.
The kids sleep on a bunk bed that they just complain about all the time, like we can do anything about it.
Right.
And the cat,
they're kids though. They're gonna complain.
My in-laws already have a dog and 2 outdoor cats.
Right.
We have an indoor cat who's not used to anything. And luckily, he's becoming friends with the dog a little bit.
That's good.
But the girl of the 2 outdoor cats met him and was just growling. She hates him. And he's just looking at her like a big dummy. Just, what? What did I do?
The poor cat.
But yeah, the cat I feel bad about because like this is my buddy. That's my cat.
Well, it's different for cats too. They're not as easily adaptable, I think, as a human is to a situation.
I'm not adapted. Like my mother-in-law. Yeah, my mother-in-law asks me how I'm doing. I'm just I'm fine. We're inside. I'm just screaming.
Well, what are you supposed to say?
Because I'm trying to like maintain because My wife is trying to maintain, but honestly, I just would love for her to let it out.
Yeah.
But so she's just keeping herself busy so she doesn't freak out.
That's a really smart thing to do. Just stay busy.
Yeah, she's been keeping
And
herself busy. I'm focusing on the kids.
Hopefully, you guys can keep coming over more often. I know my son got sick and that fucked things up
my
for us. But
my daughter has been, she's adapting terribly. Like,
it's not,
I don't expect her
it's
to
not hard
adapt
to understand.
well, but a kid with an emotional disorder now being completely thrust into like this big thing.
Yeah.
My son has his moments. He's acting out a little, but again, and again, as I said, I feel like I'm intruding on people who are doing too much for us.
Right.
But
yeah, but you can't think that way. You gotta realize they're doing it because they want. They don't need to, and there's no obligation. They're doing it because they want to.
And for the insurance, we call the insurance. They issued it to a guy who was on vacation.
Isn't he off the fucking roster? If he's on vacation, shouldn't he be off the list?
We found out a day after because my wife was calling every day. Because we waited I think 2 or 3 days and nothing was being done. So it called us like, oh, it was sent to. We're going to send it to another agent because he's on vacation.
Okay.
They sent it to another agent. I don't know if this agent was on vacation or they were just waiting for that guy to get back, because it took 2 weeks for them to even get back to us. We had a contractor look at it before. Excuse me. We had a contractor look at it before. Now, a contractor can't do any work, but they could at least do an estimate.
Sure.
People who took the tree down off of our roof so more water doesn't just pour into my attic.
Yeah, that's not good.
Is the same contractor, because they actually do general renovation, and I guess they have a tree, since they're in the area we live in. They also have a tree removal service.
Okay,
guys are great so far as I know.
Yeah, you mentioned that, which is good.
And he essentially they did their estimate, but they can't do anything without the agent coming by and checking it out. And we waited over 2 weeks. They just came by yesterday.
I feel like,
and then
when I talked to you like last weekend, you said they were supposed to be by Monday, so he didn't come that Monday.
No, that was.
Oh, that was different.
That
was the builder.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
This Monday, they showed up.
Fucking Christ.
And then we spoke. No, sorry. Monday, someone else showed up. This Wednesday, he showed up, and then we have to wait for the check. Then the check will have to go to my mortgage. I have to mail it to them. So to sign it, then they have to mail it back to us. Then we have to sign it so that we can pay the contractor to start doing work.
That is okay. I'm going to assume this is one of the major insurance companies, right?
It is a major insurance company, yes.
How can you run a major insurance company and have it be this fucked? Like, how is your process this fucked? I know they technically, like, the higher up, like, the people who own the CEO, they don't give 2 fucks. I know they don't give 2 fucks. But aren't these people that, like, work in the office, don't they have any compassion to be like, this guy's house just got fucked. I really want to help him, get this resolved quickly. I've had, like, car accidents and stuff, and they were usually really helpful and really quick and try to get me the check quickly. I don't know if it's different with home insurance because it's obviously a lot more money that you're talking about.
Yeah.
But holy fucking shit, like, where's the level of compassion from anybody in this situation?
The most we got was, oh, well, give us a check for wherever you're staying. It's like, what if we don't have the money to stay somewhere? I mean, technically we don't. Luckily, we have in-laws.
Yeah.
But if my in-laws weren't there, or if they didn't have the space, my kids would have to be staying wherever they are, and my wife and I would have to try to figure something out. So then we'd be away from our kids, paying out. And then, mind you, everything's on a timeline when you're dealing with money. So now we're set on this timeline, and we're waiting for just the first step to be done.
Yeah, you can't even start the fucking work until you get this goddamn check to you, to the mortgage company, back to you, to the builder. And who knows how long that could take, a week, 2 weeks, who knows?
Yep. So it's...
And the builders won't start anything on good faith?
They can't. They actually can't. Because...
No, I mean, I get it from their point of view.
So I absolutely understand that. I understand their reasoning.
Yeah, no, I get it. They're still a business. They got to make sure they're going to get paid, right?
The fact that I have to get a check, wait on snail mail, then send it out snail mail,
I don't understand
and
why
get
the
it back
mortgage
snail mail,
company has to be involved in this at all.
because the amount of money
Yeah.
that it is, they want to make sure the mortgage. I don't fully understand it myself.
It seems
but
to
they
me.
want to make sure the mortgage is okay with us doing
Okay.
like putting that much money into.
Oh,
the
okay.
house.
All right. I kind of get that because the bank has a stake in the house. They want to make sure it's kind of like when you wreck your car and like they got to decide if it's totaled or not. Like,
Yeah,
does it make more sense
and
to total it
and
out?
they might want to send out their own
The house.
inspector.
So they're going to be like, we're going to total out the house, which is knock
Yeah,
it down and
just-
build a new one. Like that
Yes,
doesn't make any sense.
I guess to make sure we're not like trying to just get the insurance money and vanish.
Okay, all right. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense to me too. I guess that's something somebody could.
Yeah, and then they were like,
do.
okay, and then we're gonna give you like such and such amount of money for like all these extra damaged things that aren't fully covered. Just don't
Sure.
spend over $1,000. I'm like, okay, but but this thing that was destroyed that you're counting in that is over $1,000. I'm sure of
I
it. We had 2 air conditioners that were destroyed.
I hate the politics involved in having to deal with something as simple as getting that ticket.
Yeah, I know this
As
became
if
a
you
bit
don't
of a
have
bitch
enough-
fest, like not in the fun way.
No, but I
this
think
is-
like for me, and I don't know about how people listen, but for me, it's interesting to kind of understand how this process. I've never had to deal with homeowners insurance before to
Yeah.
know what a fucking hassle it's going to be if it ever comes up.
Yeah, like it
least to be prepared
from what
for
I
it.
know from this situation, it does not matter how prepared you are or how on top of it you are with the insurance company.
It's just got to be a shit
It's
show.
purely on them.
I mean, well, at least you can take a little solace in the fact that like it's out of your control and you just have to.
Yeah. I'm just happy I have a roof over my head.
Right? No,
Like, that's
absolutely,
really-
absolutely. It's it's
my
very
kids
good.
are safe. My kids are all right. It's not during the school year, which that would have been a major problem.
Yeah, hopefully they
during
get
the
everything
school year.
done before the school year starts and stuff too.
But on worse news, that's how I found out my neighbor died.
Wait, the one,
The really nice guy that I
whose
really like.
yard had the tree.
Huh.
What? What?
This whole situation is how I found out my neighbor died.
Had he died
'Cause
prior to this?
He died prior because I was wondering, they were doing construction on his house. They were refacing it. They were re-roofing it. I was like, huh.
They're getting ready. Somebody was getting
I
ready to
was
sell
ready to sell it.
after he passed away.
And because he was working on the other side of my house because he owns the land behind my house and on the opposite end of my house.
Okay.
But he stopped working on that. So I was like, is he sick again? Like, what's going on? And like, oh no, he passed away.
Did you bring this up recently where
I
you
passed-
were mowing
I-
the lawn and stuff?
Yes, that he was sick.
Because he was.
But he had passed away shortly after that,
Jesus fucking Christ.
which is really sad because one, he was a really nice guy.
Older guy or
He was older, but he wasn't like healthy either. He just lived
Got it.
life to however he wanted to live it.
that's the way to do it. We're all gonna
And-
die.
And
It doesn't
I think
matter.
he died of cancer. I think it was lung cancer. I could be 100% wrong.
That's
but his
rough.
wife, but the thing is, my wife and I found it really weird that he was sitting out in his car just like in the middle of like 4 a.m. And it was because he was smoking. He was sitting in his car smoking.
He was just
He was just like, it's.
couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Okay, so he really put himself into
He was
that.
like my grandmother, just kept it up until very end.
It's a shame.
And I was like, you know what? If something major didn't happen in my life, I would have just minded my business and spent years just going, huh,
Not
I
even
seen him
knowing.
around, and just would never have
Yeah, never would have known.
clicked with me.
It's fucking weird.
So it always could be worse for someone else. That's ultimately.
No, that's true. I mean, like
Like-
I said, I was laying there bitching and moaning about the fucking power being off, and my house is all hot. There's no lights on. Kids are bored and complaining, and I'm like, then I see that, I'm like, oh, guess that could have happened. The tree could have fucking fell on my house, so
Oh.
I'm not gonna bitch anymore.
And I couldn't contact you directly
Well, yeah, because you're
because
calling me.
my fucking phone died that same
I
day.
was wondering because it was acting like the messages weren't even being delivered to you, and I was like, what the fuck's going on?
My kids water damaged my phone.
Well, I assumed that was related to the fact that there was a storm in your.
No.
It was just
So I've been going to the pool with my kids because my son is afraid of water. And
Right.
I want him to like be braver. And I'm afraid of water. Who the fuck am I to tell him to get in the pool and if I'm not doing it?
I don't know if I'm afraid of water. I just hate water.
I'm
I don't
definitely
like water.
terrified of suffocating under the water again.
Really?
I drowned during a training mission in
Oh, okay.
the Army, so
Well,
I
wait,
don't
drown
like
like
water.
you were dead?
No, when you drown, you just suck in water. That's what that
Okay,
really
so you
is. That's
had
drowning.
like,
I was drowning. I drowned.
so how
I
did
didn't pass out,
you have to
but
cough the water? How'd
I
that-
had to cough the water out, and I had gotten pneumonia after that.
Fuck me.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that would do it.
I was terrified of water.
That would make
And
it happen.
mind you, during that training mission, the person that was supposed to be watching me was my soldier because I didn't know how to swim, but she was supposed to be watching me, but she was talking to some boy and just let me suffocate under the water. She's right over me. I could not fucking reach her. And the last thought in my mind before everything went dark was just like, well, this fucking sucks. That was literally my last thought. And then she grabbed me last second and brought me up.
Well,
No,
she did
no,
eventually.
She could have grabbed me before I sucked in a bunch of water.
But she did eventually. You're not dead.
I would have probably floated.
That's so fucked up.
Regardless, so I go to this pool and my alarm goes off because I have a series of alarms that go off on my phone
Right,
to remind me of things.
Yep.
And my kids are like, "Oh, the alarm's going off." I'm like, "Okay, I'll just let it ring out. I don't care." What I didn't notice is they were getting out of the pool periodically and they were turning it off, soaking fucking wet. So my phone is just sitting there, face up in the sun, with water seeping down into the case.
Oh, it wasn't one of those like water resistant phones.
It is a water resistant phone, except it was pouring into the ports because of the case, and there's a tiny little crack in the bottom right of the phone.
Got it.
So
you did get a new phone out of it at least.
I had to buy a new phone. I didn't get a new phone out of it.
Got it. I mean,
and I lost all my contacts. I lost everything. I didn't even know who you were.
You didn't sync that shit up.
I thought I did, but everything stopped syncing.
You got that new phone with 37 cameras on it.
37 cameras and no SD card. A second SIM card slot though.
Okay.
There's an eSIM. Apparently, this phone has an eSIM and a SIM card slot.
Oh yeah.
So I can have dual SIM. Yeah.
I've considered mine does too. I've considered that, but then I was like, do I want to pay for another fucking phone plan to have like more data coverage? It's like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I just popped my old SIM into it since the numbers are the same.
Right.
And just in case, I guess one goes out, the other one.
Yeah, that thing has way too many cameras. It's fucking ridiculous. You look like a fucking pervert.
What are you talking about?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Cameras.
There's 5 cameras. You don't
3
need,
giant cameras.
you don't need fucking 5 cameras.
I'm a photographer, bitch. Yes, I do.
Yeah, so use your camera, not your fucking phone.
Nah, this is lighter.
Okay.
And it's a computer.
5 cameras.
You can go fuck yourself, sir.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to
Trust me
something
with your
else.
fucking Google phone.
Yeah, listen, Google I can't even defend them. Google's evil, but they make good phones. I like their phones. Let's see what else is going on. We went to the local, the playhouse near us in Forestburg. There's a little playhouse there. I had gotten my wife a gift certificate for us to go over for Christmas to go.
Like play as in like
they do put on music
plays. Okay, production. Production.
But it's like high caliber. Like they actually bring in.
Because when you said playhouse, there were 3 things that it could have been.
There was no sex, no children stuff, and what's the third one?
Literally what we're talking about now.
Okay, so it's that one. But it's good. They have local folks that are in it, but they actually bring in professional actors for a lot of parts. Anyway, I got us tickets to go see Matilda the musical. We went and saw last Saturday, and it was fine. The performance for good news, but I get there right.
Yeah.
And I go and sit down, and my daughter sat next to me, and my wife sat next to her. So it was the 3 of us in a row. And I immediately hear this fucking lady behind me start grumbling. And she's like, and then I hear like, I'm not going to be able to see now. And I'm like, kind of looking over my shoulder.
You say I have a big head?
I'm just kind of looking over my shoulder. Is she fucking talking about it? She's like, it's like, they need to fix this problem in this theater. Now I'm not going to be able to see because this guy's in front of me. And I'm getting madder. And she just kept grumbling shit about it to the person next to her the whole time. Can't see anything now. See. Ugh, can't see anything. And then coincidentally, at the same, at 2 minutes after this, somebody comes into the box office and explains to this person that she her seat was double sold somehow. And they're trying. They wanted her to I don't know, and she was being a total Karen bitch to the person. Anyway, and then we get to the intermission, and it turns out my wife kind of knows her, like as an acquaintance, like somebody that she worked with at a school at some point.
Yeah.
There's two people, like she knew kind of both of them from the school, and my she said something to my wife about it, like, "Oh yeah, I can't really see," and my wife was,
Oh, she didn't realize you guys were sitting in front of her?
no, I don't know,
Oh.
but she's still complaining about me to my wife now. She's like, "I can't really see," and my wife goes, "Oh, do you want me and him to switch seats?" And I just gave her a death glare. I was like, "Fuck this lady."
Yeah.
And I said, we're both sitting down. There's maybe an inch difference between us. I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'11". It's not like I'm a 6'8" guy standing in front of with a big fucking hat on or anything.
Yeah.
I'm a normal sized human being. I've got somebody in front of me. I can see fucking fine. And I just was like, sitting down, there's like maybe an inch difference. It's not going to make any difference. And the lady's
Dude,
like,
what a
well,
slouch for you, madam.
she goes, well, he is kind of tall. I was so fucking mad. On the car ride home, all I did was complain. I was like, this fucking bitch grumbling about me being too tall behind her. She's in I was, bring a fucking booster seat next time. If it's a big deal to you. Like, I'm an average sized human being. Like, you're fucking complaining of Jesus Christ, and don't fucking go or pick fucking
Look,
front
I don't
row
understand
seats.
people, like, I can understand having some bad things happen, but I don't understand people going through with something if they're just going to be pissy the whole fucking
Listen,
time.
if she had tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, excuse me, I really hate to bother you, but with you in front of me, I'm really having a hard time seeing. Could you switch seats with your daughter, who's tiny?
Yeah.
I'm right next to her."
Yeah.
If she'd just done that, I would
It
have
would
been
have
like,
been
"Oh,
perfectly fine,
sure, no
right?
problem."
But passive aggressive is the way to go.
Instead,
Yeah.
she sit behind me grumbling like a fucking
And then she talks
bitch.
to your wife
I'm
in
so
front
mad.
of you.
I'm so mad. Oh my god! You can ask my wife later how mad I was on the way home. I'm just screaming and cursing in the car.
Oh my god!
With my
I
daughter
honestly
sitting in
would
the
have
back
paid.
seat
I would have
laughing.
paid money to watch you bitch
Oh,
about
I
this
was
woman.
so mad.
Like
Oh,
not
so bad.
like right now, but like in the moment.
It was so fucking bad. But yeah, it was terrible.
I don't understand people like that. Like working retail, you meet a lot of fucking people like that.
Constantly.
And I don't work retail, and I work retail adjacent.
Right.
But a guy's like, "Hey, can you help me open this?" I can't help you. I'm sorry. I don't work for the company. Oh, so you can't help me then?
Oh, dude, I used to.
No, you can't call somebody? No, I don't work for the company. What? I can't
used
do
to get
any
off
of that
on
shit.
man, because I worked retail and then I moved into the warehouse. I was the warehouse manager.
Yeah.
So I'd be out on the floor either stocking or doing like audits, counting, having to scan and count merchandise.
Yeah.
And people would come up to me and be like, "Hey, I'm trying to find this CD. Can you help me look it up?" And I'd be like, "No, I'm sorry. I'm working the floor as a warehouse person. I'm doing an audit right now. You can go ask over there." And sometimes they'd be like, "Oh, okay," and they'd go. But sometimes they'd be like a little bit annoying about. I'd be like, "Well, why can't you just help me?" And I just dig in and be such a dick. And then I'd revel in it. Be so great. I'd just be like, "Well, I'm fucking trying to do my." I would say fucking, but I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Well, I'm trying to do my job here. I'm trying to count these, and
My
you're
job-
interrupting me while I'm trying to do this. And
My
you're gonna make
job
it take
doesn't entail
I
you.
know. I'd be like, it's not my. I'd say just that. I'd be like, unfortunately, it's not my job to do that. So you could go over to the desk over there, and somebody whose job it is. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I loved having an opportunity and a reason to just throw it back at them and just. It was a convenient job. I'm sure most jobs I probably would have gotten fired. At that job, there are a lot of things I did I could probably would have gotten fired at. For example, harassing my wife before we got married. But
Jesus
it's
Christ.
what it is.
Oh, you're lucky she loved you.
I'm very lucky.
I don't know if she
loved
loves you now, but she loved you then.
I decided we're I think we're gonna try to go out again this weekend. I got to get another burger. I got to try to get. But we went because I went out with my wife a couple weeks ago and I had this terrible burger, and then Joaquin and I went out to dinner, and I got a great burger, and I want to go and find another burger that's good.
A good burger with your wife.
I need to find the better burger. Yeah, I want to be able to sit and enjoy it with her.
I know there was a place I went to. I don't know if it's still open. I doubt it survived the pandemic, but not Bluefin. That's a Korean barbecue place.
Yeah, I don't.
Blue Chip.
Blue Chip.
Blue
I know where that
Chip
is.
burger.
That's the I know where that is.
I don't know if that's still around, but they had pretty good burgers.
They did
last
have
time
good
I went.
burgers. I don't think they're around anymore. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. And I went there a few years back. It was great, and I believe I passed it not long ago, and I noticed that they weren't open anymore. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Restaurants are not a good business to get into. I don't think. They're
absolutely a lesson, unless it's a franchise. They are a lesson in finality. Like, just things don't last forever. Like, man,
Yeah.
this is my favorite meal. You won't have it in the next 3 years.
Well, our favorite Italian place where we had our first date, we go there for our anniversary every year. They just closed. They've been around for like 60 years. They finally, I think it was a family thing. I think it was like the grandparents that had started and owned it were ready to retire, and the kids just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So they sold it. Now it's another Korean barbecue. But I was very disappointed. It's my favorite place to go. It had sentimental value to us, and it's just fucking gone.
Yeah.
Man, I have so many things that I want to talk about, and I don't want to waste time.
I
them.
already yapped on for 30 minutes.
No, but that was good. I mean, that was something I really wanted to get into. So I'm glad we got into that. Did you? Just okay. Two show notes I want to go into. First off, I didn't address this on our last episode, but I did want to mention it's our year anniversary. It was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
We've been doing the podcast for a year. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that's listening. Thanks for listening to the show, and we're going to keep it going. And we're really happy to have been doing it this long and that it survived.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. The other thing is, I posted a clip the other day of us talking about the Supreme Court conservatives. And we did get a comment on one of our videos. Yes, the comment. It was on TikTok. We got a comment. The comment was liberal cucks.
Oh yeah.
So
that's a good argument.
We're liberal cucks.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a great argument.
Really
to the point that was actually made. Yeah, that's amazing.
That's exactly what I commented back, and I said that's a great argument. Thank you.
Yeah,
I think I ended up deleting it after that. So it's like I'm not stupid.
Because you know what, with the internet, I've started getting like to this point where I'm just thinking that everybody that doesn't have a good argument is just a bot, and I'm not doing it as an insult. I mean it like literally. I think they are just AI bots that are made to piss you off.
I don't know.
It's just my personal conspiracy theory. It's my personal conspiracy theory.
I know, but I don't think I agree because people are really fucking stupid.
Yes.
And I think that it's just an average human being can't come up with a good argument.
Okay, fuck. That is actually a good argument.
Yeah, I just think that...
I think it's just my Coke. Can I have my Coke, please?
You can think that people are
I
better
would really
than
like
that.
to have my Coca-Cola.
It's just Coca-Cola. New T-shirt. Coca-Cola. You can go on thinking that it's just computers that are making people look stupid online, but it's not. It's people. Yeah, people are stupid. I loved it, though. I was so happy, though, when I saw it.
I would have gotten annoyed.
We had another comment on a YouTube video, too, I never mentioned, that was just like, this video has 4 views and it was in my feed.
How did that happen?
I don't know. Dude, we're hitting the algorithm lately. I'm telling you, we got a bunch of views on the sovereign citizens stuff, and then the conservative video, Supreme Court thing I clip actually got a bunch of views already. We're just hitting the algorithm the right way.
By the way, wait, that guy, I check up on him once in a while. Wayman or whatever the fuck his name is.
Okay.
That sovereign citizen guy. I check up on him once in a while because I care. And nobody's backed him up.
Sorry.
He hasn't commented on anything else. And his last video was the one I was bitching about.
Dude, maybe you put him in his place.
No. Fuck that. He's too... No, that's not what happened. I think he might have died due to like tooth decay or something. Or he's in jail.
Is that really a tooth decay? I guess you could get an infection or something.
Yeah, go straight to your fucking brain, dude.
Dude, I'm gonna have bad dreams now. Why did you say that? I have enough bad dreams about teeth falling out and shit. Now I'm gonna dream.
You have those dreams? I don't.
Once in a while,
like, despite the fact we talk about tooth problems,
it's strange because it's such a cliche to have that dream, and I do. I have that dream.
I don't understand how people survived in like the 17 and 1800s with like bad tooth hygiene.
You know what I always think about? Animals don't like typically have good. Speak of the devil, animals don't really have good tooth hygiene. I mean, you get them like certain.
No, they chew wood. A lot of them will chew wood and grass, which is...
Yeah, but is that doing anything?
One of the best things you can use to clean your teeth off is baking powder.
That's true.
I mean, like, out of all the hygienic pastes and shit that we use... I know
people that only use baking
That's
soda.
why I said on that podcast, all you need is a rag and some water and just rub your teeth, and your teeth will be fine for a while.
Yeah,
like, your breath will stink like fucking hell, but your teeth will be fine.
I guess you're
right. Drink water. They don't drink bullshit like we do. They drink water mainly.
I suppose you're right.
That's why animals mainly don't. And if they do, they die really quickly without human intervention.
I guess. I don't know. What did you think of the voice cloning clip I sent you? What did you think? You know
okay.
what?
No,
Let's
no,
pause
no.
for a se- let's
Oh,
pause
I don't
for a
even have
second.
that. I don't even have that text. So you're gonna have to bring
I'll
it
have to
up.
resend it. Well, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to pause for a second. We both listened to them. I'm going to pause for a second here, and I'm going to insert the 2 audio clips. So these are 2 audio clips that I used voice cloning technology to generate. One I used to generate Joaquin saying something, and then I had it generate me saying the same exact thing, more or less. So I'm going to put those in right here.
My name is Joaquin, and I am such a boner. Sometimes I like to eat my own poop. I always wipe my mouth when I'm done, but sometimes I leave a little behind for later. I think Matthew is the coolest man in the entire world. I would fuck him.
My name is Matthew, and I am such a boner. Sometimes I like to eat my own poop. I always wipe my mouth when I'm done, but sometimes I leave a little behind for later. I think Joaquin is the coolest man in the entire world. I would fuck him.
Okay, now that you've listened to those,
All right. So my response to him was actually exactly how I feel right now. Mind you, he asked for my permission, so he got my consent.
I thought you were going to be really bad.
He got my consent, so I kept to my promise.
Can I be honest? I had already done it before I asked.
I bet you did, but you knew I would have been upset if you just sent it to me.
That's why I asked, yes.
I'm not mad at you, but I am mad at your actions. So,
dude, it's creepy
so
as shit.
he messages me and says, "If I clone your voice, would you be mad at me?" Oh no, will you be mad at me if I clone your voice? Well, same difference.
Whatever, yeah.
And I go, no. I dubiously said
Hold
no.
on.
What?
You just said it like no. So if I heard that, I would in my head go, yeah, I don't think he actually means that.
The beauty of text.
Right,
Now,
there's
isn't it?
context.
No.
I didn't have
I
context.
understand you don't have context. I accepted that.
Right.
So he sends it to me. The clip you heard. I hear that bullshit. And I don't get angry at it because I'm not that sensitive. But I respond, I hold a lot of contempt for you.
Yes, you did.
I feel like you should be punished. I'm not upset. It's not out of rage or anger. I just feel like your action deserved a consequence.
That's fair.
I don't know what consequence will happen in the future, but it will happen.
Do you think it's going to be some cosmic karma?
No, I'm going to do something.
Oh, fuck you, man. I don't want to be waiting for this now.
I probably need to build up some money before I do so.
Oh, come on.
So he knows it's coming. But then to make up for it, like a fucking child, he puts up the other clip. He sends it to me.
I didn't do that after you said that. I didn't make that previously. Like
I'm sure you didn't. I think I know you a little well now. Because he felt bad that he upset me. And I'm just like, no, that doesn't make up for you posting that.
I mean, it
no,
kind of does.
Because like a fucking little kid like will hit their brother and their brother cries, no, you can hit me back. You can hit me back. That's exactly what that shit was.
Yeah, well, I think that's I have no defense.
Like physically, yeah, that's fair. Emotionally, no, bitch, it's not.
Let me preface. I'm not prefacing anything at this point. let me add to this that when I first started playing with that, I didn't think it was going to be so fucking accurate and like really kind of sound like us. So I was just fucking around with it, and I figured, hey, you know what? I have really good clean audio sources of. I have good clean audio sources of us talking to each other in completely separate waveforms, so it'd be a nice, easy thing. I've played with it a little more and tried to do other voices from clips, and it's not bad, but it's way more like, yeah, this doesn't quite sound right.
Now, does it like learn the more you feed into it?
Yes, and I had only fed it one short clip of each of us, and it was that fucking accurate.
Now, what's really weird about that thing, because I sent it to my sister.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah, I needed her opinion, and unfortunately, again, I don't have the text, so I'm going all of memory here.
Okay.
But she went, "It's eerie how it has your inflections.
Right.
I can tell it's not you.
Right.
but if I heard it passively, I wouldn't be able to tell
Well,
the difference.
I think that's kind of like
And
what we both
to
have
me,
talked about.
mine didn't sound like me.
Right.
It sounded. I could hear the similarities, but it didn't sound like me.
And to me, it didn't sound quite like me, but yours did.
But to me, yours sound like you,
Right.
just like flat. Like it didn't have real inflection to your voice.
There's adjustments you can make where like it can make it have more inflection and more emotion in the voice. And I kind of just left it at the default for those.
Okay.
And I've played with it a little bit. Like, this is going to sound silly, but a buddy of mine asked me to try to do a clip of Morgan Freeman saying something that he actually wants to use. And I was playing with Morgan Freeman. I added a few clips and I was playing with it. And it's hard to get it. Like, I could get it to the point where it was more emotional and more inflections and stuff, but it sounded a little less like him. And I could have it sound more like him, but it was more monotone. So you really have to play with the settings.
Like you probably have to actually listen to Morgan Freeman clips in the vein of what you're doing and edit it.
Well, and to be fair, the clips I was using were, they weren't clean. Like I was uploading clips with probably background music and stuff when I was doing those. But it was eerie how I literally just uploaded one short clip of each of us, and it was that accurate off the bat without playing with it. I didn't even fuck with it yet to try to get it to be more accurate. But yeah, I sent my clip to a friend of mine, and I just wanted to say like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And he was just like, "That's fucking weird, dude." He was like, "That's terrible." It's like, imagine the kind of damage you could do to somebody with that.
We all know that. We all fucking know that.
Yes, but I mean, think about it. Like, I could make a clip of somebody like talking about how he's banging some broad on the side and send it to the dude's wife, and if it sounds accurate enough, you could really fuck somebody's life up.
Yeah, I think it's weird because there's no like, not that I know of anyway, any like license plate or like an identifier that says like this clip like that you can't get rid of that says this is a AI clip.
You'd think they do that, but
no, because people, it's the mad scientist syndrome.
Right.
You want the end result. Fuck all the other like repercussions.
Well, to me, I was even thinking like if I ever used it for something, not commercial, because I'm not going to like be putting it on a TV commercial. But if I was going to use it for something other than fun with friends, I'd probably preface it with like if it was doing Morgan Freeman, have it say like, "This is not Morgan Freeman."
Yeah, just like, something that you can't get rid of, like a stamp.
I put something like that up front to make it clear that it's just I don't know.
That was a big thing with the Hollywood strike is that one of the producers said, "Hey, we want to be able to take background people, have an AI algorithm copy those background people, so background actors won't be needed anymore because they'd be used for hundreds and hundreds of movies down the line."
It's such a slippery slope. Like that's fucked, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's fucked. But on the other side of the argument, the actors and writers want like these agreements to say that no AI involvement can be used now, any new or current or future technology, and I feel like that's unrealistic too.
No, I agree.
You can't expect that they're going to just say yes, we will never use AI for anything.
No, I think AI would be great for like fixing a lot of CGI hiccups.
It needs to be a tool.
Because that's what it fucking is.
Neither side seems to be able to come to a middle ground and say like, hey, it's going to be a tool to make things easier and maybe a little better and fix things, but we're not replacing anybody.
I feel like it's because neither side are people who actually directly work with that software.
No, not at all. You're absolutely right.
They're big thinkers on opposite ends of the spectrum, not paying attention to the people who actually fucking use it.
Absolutely.
They're just a bunch of idea guys.
Well, we talk about AI too much on this podcast, so I don't want to get into it too much. But I fucked around with it, trying to do things like generating scripts or generating storylines, and you're not going to be able. The current technology you're not going to be able to use to literally generate full scripts and never need a writer, but it could be used as a tool. I mean, if you're sitting in a writer's room and you're struggling for ideas and you want to type in the chat, hey, give me a few ideas with this premise, and it spits out 16, and then you as a writer's room can go, oh, you know what, those 2 were really good, let's expand on those. I don't see a big problem with that. And I'm not saying use it all the time. I'm saying like if you guys are out of standstill, you're all sitting there and you can't come up with an idea and you're just at a roadblock, why not use it as a tool? But anyway,
I think I said that when we brought up AI art, like how when that was like a big thing going on earlier this year. It was like It's a tool. It gives you an idea of what you want to do, and then you fucking really work off
Sure.
of that.
It's crazy how in less than a year now we've gone from this AI art becoming this big issue to then writing being this huge AI issue, and now even within a couple weeks now it's an issue for actors and actresses being this giant issue. So I don't know. I hope they will come to a resolution. Everything I read about it says it seems like it's going to go on for fucking ever, and nobody's going to ever come to a resolution.
Same
on
thing
this.
happened with CGI. The same thing happened with
Yeah.
modern prosthetics, like the high end
It's
prosthetics.
just like
Same thing happened with books.
you don't
So,
want to see it
fuck
come.
it.
The fact that there are people publishing AI books is amazing to me. Like that anybody would buy them.
Oh, I saw an advertisement that says first AI magazine. I don't want to fucking read
That's
that.
what I mean. Like I don't.
There's no interest in
Right.
that.
I don't fucking have any desire to read that because that's if it's an AI magazine, it's just rehashing existing information. It's not like somebody went out and, got into the field
Yep.
and got down and dirty and really involved themselves in the subject and then wrote something. It's just rehashed bullshit that's already out there.
Yeah. And I would rather get the bad opinions of a human than
Yeah,
some machine. Like
Absolutely.
I don't give a shit
Absolutely. I don't know.
about
It's
that.
just
That's so stupid. It's for me. It's really stupid. It's a novelty at best, like a joke magazine.
yeah.
That's
all
what
should
it
be.
is.
It should only
And
be
even
a
the joke magazine has more value. The Onion has way more fucking value.
Sure. Mad Magazine,
than-
Crack Magazine.
Yeah,
Crack Magazine. I don't think either of them are in print anymore. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I know that it has more value than an AI magazine that definitely is just
Absolutely.
somebody who's really lazy and just knows how to make a magazine.
Yeah,
format.
I mean, the only reason I could see myself picking up an AI magazine would just be to look through and be like, look how dumb it sounds.
Yeah. Oh man, this guy almost has two eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just dumb. The whole. To your point, like with CGI, I hope it doesn't become like CGI where it's just they're just studios now are like we're not going to fucking do anything
Mhm.
physical. People are just gonna stand in front of a fucking green screen and everything's gonna be CGI because I really do think it devalues it. When you watch
Yes.
old movies, even when it's kind of campy and some of the effects aren't great, it's so much more. It's a better experience to watch when you know it was really filmed. Like they really blew that fucking train up to do that scene.
Well, you remember like in the early 2000s when they were just like really heavy. There's like every big budget movie is CGI.
Yeah.
It's just all CGI
Yep.
bullshit. And it got to a point where we're like, okay, so every movie has it, and it doesn't amount to anything. And we just started evening out to now we're using like practical effects with CGI. So when movies that really are heavy in CGI, it looks weird.
You know
And
what?
it looks wrong.
Well, the CGI still kind of sucks.
No, I agree.
Like things are still like weird muddled colors and dark. It's not great
For
still.
movies that most of the world has seen, any movie you see the Hulk in, tell me he looks way worse now than he did in the Avengers.
He doesn't look good, and I mean, and the She-Hulk. I know everybody can play, but it really did look worse.
Yeah,
It looked completely worse than even the
Right.
Hulk looked.
and it's weird
I don't know. It's a weird.
because you can become very complacent with CGI.
No, you're right. I think you're right. I think myself, just anecdotally, me. I think I've gotten used to like this is how movies look.
Yeah.
And if I go back and I watch an older movie from like the early '90s or something, I totally notice the difference.
Well, this is how
And it does look a little campier and a little
Mhm.
not quite normal. But it might not even be campy. It may just be my brain going, "That's not what movies look like anymore," or what I'm used to seeing.
But that's
Maybe-
how stupid we all are in general. Because I mean, we all for the longest time go the live action Lion King. Like
Yeah,
no, we've only had two animated Lion King
We've
movies.
talked about that
So
before. The live action.
no, not
Lion
going.
King.
I'm just saying, like
That's
fuck that.
100% CGI.
Like the
It's
fuck
a
are you
stupid-
talking
It's
about?
a stupid thing to say.
I don't even think the grass in the movie was real. No, I think they took cameras and went around certain parts, fucking in a meadow somewhere.
Do you think that part was
I think-
realistic and they animated into it?
I
don't think it
I
is.
think I didn't have an interest in watching any.
I feel like it's
documentaries, but I
too
thought that
funny,
that's what they
because
did.
now you gotta hire a whole camera crew to go out
Yeah,
and film all this
But
shit.
I mean, it was to the point that they were insistent that it was live action.
I don't know, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's the
None.
It's the dumbest fucking thing I think a studio could say. I still haven't watched the live action Little Mermaid, but that just hit streaming, so I know
Not in-
you
not
didn't
in-
care for it, but probably check that out soon.
I don't have an interest.
We've got like, I don't know, 30 minutes or so left. Should we start a topic? You want to get into anything else quickly?
Wow.
Because I had other stuff I wanted to talk about. Twitter's rebrand. Have you been paying attention to that?
Twitter or something like that?
Yeah, so I don't know if we want to get into
I
that.
saw a YouTube video on it. We're not going to get to our topic. Fuck it.
We're not going to do our topic
I
today?
don't think so. I think we'll actually have a full-on topic later.
All right, guys. This is going to be a topic-free episode. You know what? Here's what we'll do. At the very end, we'll do a topic for 5 minutes. It's just going to be something dumb that I'm just saying, I hate that. And that's it. That way we technically have a topic. Because we've already done a catch-up episode before. And I kind of felt bad that there was no topic in that episode.
Okay, fine.
It feels like a letdown. You don't want your... I was listening to...
It's like being sucked off right until you're there and then stop.
And they're just like, nope, no more. There's this podcast, Taste Buds. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's
poor choice of words after I said that.
It's called Taste Buds. It's Sal Vulcano from Impractical Jokers and this comedian Joe DeRosa. And each episode they do a battle of foods, like which food is better. The two of them argue the side. And they did an episode where they ended up not doing a battle, and they were talking about it on a recent podcast, how people were like literally sending them bitchy emails like, I listened to that whole fucking thing and you didn't even do a battle, and that's the only reason I listened to it, and you just wasted my time. And they were like, fuck
Are you
you.
fucking serious?
Fuck yourself. But it made me think in my head, I was like, we're supposed to talk about a topic. I don't want to disappoint anybody, even if they are fucking dickheads. I'll think about a stupid topic to do. Okay, let's talk about Twitter becoming X and how fucking dumb this is.
We already know how I feel about Twitter, so
I know how you feel about Twitter, but okay.
Twitter X.
That
is so 2000s.
It's not Twitter X. It's just X.
X? I thought it was X Twitter.
No.
X.
No. It's just X. He decided that it's not Twitter anymore. It's just X. They rolled out. So okay, I've been in marketing for 15 years now.
Yeah.
I've done several rebrands. I've had to go through many rebrands, and it depends. I mean, if it's a smaller business, maybe not. But for some businesses, like I did a rebrand for a large medical company. I mean, they've got offices everywhere. They've got website. They've got portals. They've got collateral that they have in, meaning flyers and brochures. Yeah. They've got posters all over the place. It's a big fucking deal to do a rebrand. You literally have SOPs and documents you have to change the name in. This motherfucker was like, we're going to make the name X. And then he posted on Twitter, hey, if somebody comes up with a good logo, we'll make it go live tomorrow. And they fucking did. They put a new logo up.
Was it that glowing X?
It's just this. In the video it was. But it's literally just a white X with one of the X bars is like a rectangle instead of a line. They put it as the new, so you go to log into Twitter, it's got the big X logo at the top, and then it says, welcome to Twitter underneath. And then it says, log into Twitter underneath. Yep. And the button still says tweet. It's just, that's your rebrand? And then they're talking about how X is going to be this much bigger, much more in.
Because they're trying to make it like WhatsApp.
Right. They want it to be not even just WhatsApp, like this huge conglomerate.
Do you know what WhatsApp is? Not to us in America, but for the rest of the world. Like WhatsApp is a social media platform, a messaging platform, a money platform. I think you can order food it's ridiculous what WhatsApp is to the rest of the world.
I didn't realize that. Okay. Yes, that's what they want it to be, this all-encompassing huge platform where everything's all there. And I'm like, you motherfuckers can't even do a rebrand properly.
But not at all.
So you expect?
Twitter's
am I supposed to
hemorrhaging since Elon took over?
But to treat a social media platform that is a cultural norm at this point, it is part of our lexicon to talk about.
It's the death we need. It is the
maybe
death
you're
that
right,
we need.
but this dude spent $44 billion and he's treating it like a fucking sandwich.
Fuck him! He'll still be rich.
Look, I don't disagree with you, and Twitter can be accessible, but there are a lot of people that rely on it
for work,
for marketing themselves, for establishing their brand, for communicating with groups of people that they like, and to just take it and just fucking shit all over it. Something that has become a part of our culture.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like taking baseball and being like, you know what? Instead of hitting a ball, they're gonna throw a frisbee at them and they have to hit it with a tennis racket.
Do you know how fragile the things that we like are?
You're right.
Like the thing, like it's sort of, for instance, Have you ever had a TV channel that you loved growing up,
Yes.
and then it's a hollow? If it's still around, it's a hollow fucking shell of what it used to be.
No, you're right.
Netflix is like that for a lot of people right now.
You're right.
Now, Twitter, granted, Twitter, it is that important. But guess what? Facebook was like that prior to Twitter.
Sure.
And when
Well,
Twitter,
Facebook still has its value. I'm not.
I mean,
and I don't want to make it sound like
imagine,
it's.
at least
It's not.
Zuckerberg had enough fucking sense to just rename the company
Yeah.
and not the website.
Well, I also like the fact that he made his own Twitter account now, and it's like adding hundreds of millions of viewers at a
Really?
crazy rate.
That's
Yeah, I haven't checked recently, but they had hit 100 million users. Like, and I don't know what Twitter's user base is now. Last I checked, it was around 300 million, but that's probably an outdated number. But they Threads added 100 million users within like a week, and it's
Wow.
because it's directly tied to Instagram. So it's very
just transfer. People could transfer right.
you
on
literally
over.
just go to the app and it's like import from Instagram and you have your account now. It's very quick and easy. They have a built-in user base because they're just taking users from Instagram and Facebook and bringing them right in. I believe like verification stuff is all just tied into Instagram, so there's none of that process. So
Yeah.
it's like literally put an app up and you instantly have your user base. So good on him. Not that I like Mark Zuckerberg, but good on him for being like, well, if this asshole's fucking up Twitter and he's
I
going
might
to
as
ruin
well
it,
just
I'll just make a new one and
come
people
in-
will come use mine.
jump
And
in right in the cut. and
it's going to be interesting to see how much it's able to grow. But he said recently he thinks his new app Threads will hit 1 billion users in a fairly short amount of
Well,
time.
here's the thing. I honestly don't like seeing people fail as much, even if I hate them, to be very honest. But I would
Well, I
love
agree.
to see something hit Elon's ego. Just take him down just a little bit.
I don't know if he has the ability to lose ego. It seems like he's
It seems like
invulnerable.
he keeps taking L's and he's just like,
He doesn't care.
yeah,
He
he's
just
like,
does not give a
He's
fuck.
like too autistic to notice.
In his mind, he like twists it around like it doesn't matter. Like it's actually a win. It's a loss, but it's going to propel something else that's going to make it.
Yeah, I guess. And Twitter's
And
not going to be that thing.
Just
for
to
him.
go back to your point, though, usually when like things that we love and culturally get destroyed, it's like a combination of factors and different. It's not this like one fucking guy that's just going to destroy it. It's-
Okay, you want to say combination of factors. I mean, it's been slow coming, but it's been like with the discourse, with the inability to monitor, to platforming psychopaths for a while on Twitter, and then the acquiring of.
I guess you're right.
Because remember, Elon was Twitter's hero for the longest time.
Right.
And all of a sudden, they were like, "Oh, he's Iron Man. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that."
I'm rolling my
And
eyes. You
and
can't see me
everybody
right now.
fucking loves him for it. And then they're like, "He should own Twitter." And he's like, "Yeah, I should own Twitter."
And he accidentally
And
bought it.
He fucking buys it because he couldn't stop running his mouth.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, fuck. I need to do something." It was a series of factors that we all knew about. It sowed more discourse. He keeps going back on like these supposed values he has.
Yeah.
He's like, "I'll reinstate these people. I'll do." There's people who just get cut or reinstated because he had to start doubling down on what Twitter was doing before.
Well, there's some like I mean,
Like-
even with the rebrand, there was a person that had the username X at X for 16 years, and they just took it. They
took
were like, they sent me an email like, "Hey, we're taking it. Sorry."
Like, okay,
Which
what?
again, okay, fine, it's their
It's
platform.
your platform, but
but
fuck you.
Have a little respect. They didn't give him
No,
any money.
no.
They didn't do anything for him.
Because
They just took it.
the people who power the platform, like the eyes and
Like
the
12
attention,
people left.
they don't matter. Like unless you
Oh,
are
you mean the
in
users?
the users, unless you are in mass, you don't fucking matter as an individual. Are you fucking serious?
You're
The
right.
only thing that matters is the cluster you bring. If you have followers, you have some value. You don't have any value.
He's
At
definitely
all.
fucked it up. I mean, when I do go on Twitter now, I see the same like 2 ads over and over. Like it'll be
Really?
2 posts from somebody I follow, ad. 2 posts from some ad, and it's the same one. I keep getting Cheech and Chong gummy ads constantly. I scroll through my feed every 3 tweets, it's a Cheech and Chong gummy ad, and I kind of want to hit like not interested, but I'm like, yeah,
You're afraid of what else will
something else will
Yeah.
pop up. I'll just let Cheech and Chong be in my fucking ads over and over again. And anytime, I was telling my wife this last night, when I do a search now, I could be searching for like last night's New York Rangers game. 90% of my fucking search results are porn. Like it's just some dude with his dick hanging out, and I don't why. Like it's which is fine. That's cool.
Yeah,
You can
no,
post
that's fine,
pictures of your dick, But I'm doing a search result for something unrelated, and there's just pictures of dicks as I'm scrolling through my search
My
results.
wife does not have Twitter, but on her Facebook, she got an ad for a banana hammock.
Facebook is
I was like,
notorious for having
what
like
the fuck?
ridiculous Walmart and Amazon ads for the craziest bullshit products.
When I had Facebook, this is a long time ago, I got an ad for something I didn't know what it was until a year after I didn't have Facebook.
Right.
And it was for a rose, a sex toy rose.
Not surprised.
But I thought it was a makeup applicator. That's what it
There
looked
you
like
go.
to me.
Dude, I've
I
gone
didn't
through.
know what the fuck it
I've
was.
seen an ad on Facebook that I look at, and it's some like a sex toy or something ridiculous, but it's like weird looking. And then I click because you can see, why do I see this ad? And
Yeah.
it's literally just like, you saw this ad because you're a male between the ages of 21 and 55 in the United
It's
States.
not even anything that you looked up, nothing you
Good
said.
targeting, real good
nothing.
targeting.
It was
real good
just
targeting.
like, you hit this demographic.
Truth be told, Facebook has really, it's like creepy, detailed demographics when you're targeting an ad. I mean, you could go and say like people who are
I
sex
haven't been on in
addicts,
years, so
you know. Well, I've
like-
set up a lot of campaigns. Like you could just
Oh,
be
yeah.
specific. Why are you targeting me? Target people who like sex pages or something.
Do you think that I'm just gonna be like, oh, honey?
Better yet, I'm like, oh, that would fit nicely in my asshole. I don't know. Let's see. You know what? I think there's only like, I did briefly. I don't know if about it yet, but I'm interested in these UFO hearings they had yesterday. I didn't read enough about it. Apparently, they had a Congress or the Senate had a UFO hearings yesterday, and from what I was seeing, they basically were just like, yeah, there's aliens. Because I saw these people on Twitter that are like, oh, they're just trying to distract from whatever's really going on that they don't want us to pay attention to. That's why they're out there just saying, yeah, aliens exist. But you know what? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that next week. Is that our next time?
I don't know anything about it, so I'm going to take time.
Yeah, I want to go and research it more and actually watch and see exactly what was said. But I saw so many people tweeting about it. Like, again, like it's distracting from Hunter Biden, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. Why are we distracting from this man's coked out dick? I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't give a shit either. I couldn't care less. And well, also in my head, I guess people think that like bad things about Hunter Biden affect Joe Biden, but I couldn't fucking care less. I have relatives that are terrible people.
The worst you'll get between those two is nepotism.
Yeah,
that's fucking it.
So I don't understand why they have this big. They think like if Hunter Biden gets convicted of drugs or something, it's gonna make Joe Biden less likable by the people that love him.
It's weird because it's the same fucking shit. Like, oh my god.
Look, here's the way things are at this point. The people who love Joe Biden will continue to love Joe Biden. The people that are in the middle already don't like him.
So on my way back from Pittsburgh, I saw an expressway that I'm super confused about. My wife looked it up, so I guess I'm not confused about it anymore, but I was in the moment, so I'm just going to share it.
Okay.
There was an expressway called the President Joe Biden Expressway.
Okay.
I don't know when it was named that, but it was named the President Joe Biden Expressway. And I was like, wait, this is president. Like, it has the title.
Yeah, it's weird.
So does it change every president? Or do they take the president away when the person is no longer the president?
No, because he's still president. Like, the people still call Donald Trump President Donald Trump, but people still say President Barack Obama.
But
Barack Hussein Obama.
But when you look at roads that are named, like, we don't say President Lincoln Express or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
true.
just the Lincoln Express or whatever the fuck, or the George Washington Bridge. We don't call it the President
weird.
George Washington Bridge.
It's a little weird.
We don't call it those things. So the fact that it's called the President, it just sounds stupid. Simply stupid.
It sounds really fucking stupid.
And so
maybe they were afraid you'd convince him with another Joe Biden.
When my wife when my wife looked it up, it was like, oh, it's named that because he's from there. Okay, why does it say president? He's from not that. It was when I drive from Pittsburgh, and I can't remember exactly where.
I'm trying to think of where
you
would
look up
drive through.
President Joe Biden Expressway, it'll give you all that information.
No, but Joe Biden's from Scranton, Pennsylvania, as he talks about all the
yes,
time.
and that's where I had to drive.
Oh, you actually went through Scranton to get to Pittsburgh. That doesn't seem like it made sense to me, but I have a very poor sense of direction.
Because I couldn't remember exactly where, but that's it. That's what it was.
Okay.
And I'm just like, okay, so why does it say president? I know it's a small thing to obsess over, but it logically doesn't fit when presidency is temporary, and it just seems like you're taking unneeded pride in this. Oh, he's one of us. He made it. He doesn't give a fuck about you.
I do understand. It bothers me as well. I get it. All right, listen, we're going to just stick to the topic we were going to do. You know what? That's fine. We
Okay,
can talk
yeah, it'll be
we'll
short.
talk about it for 10 minutes.
It's time to begin the complaining.
Today, we're going to spend 10 minutes talking about cheaters. Boy, do I hate cheaters. And you know why this is coming up? Because we were just talking about this before we came in here to record. Our kids are not great at losing things.
No, not at all.
And my son will cheat if he thinks that it's going to help him. And I don't understand the concept. Okay, my wife was yelling before about how I'm going to talk about NHL on NHL Online. But I'm just going to briefly mention there are people that cheat at that game.
I can't see her face.
I'm not going to go into detail. She didn't want me to say it. Oh, I almost said
You're
it.
going to this whole diatribe.
But why do people cheat at things and win to win? And do they still feel good like they won when they know they cheated? That's the way
I feel like it's less about winning, like on my own achievements, like I did this, is more of a superiority thing.
Is it?
They're too. It's more so like I'm doing this thing not because it makes me great, but it makes it because I don't have to feel the shame of losing.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Okay, so it's not so much about because every time I see it or I see a cheater or I see somebody cheating at something.
Yeah,
I think we've talked about words with friends. Like I had
cheating on words with has a dictionary up or
in my head. I'm just trying to figure out. Like, okay, you cheated and you were victorious. Do you feel good about that? Because if I cheated and won something, in my head, maybe I'm not even talking about the shame. I'm just talking about I wouldn't in my head be like, yeah, I won. I'd just be like, I didn't fucking win. I cheated.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're saying it's just really to avoid the shame of loss.
Yeah, because it's definitely a hollow victory, but you're not focused. That way I feel about it. You're not focusing on the victory. You're focusing on not feeling shame for losing.
We weren't even going to need 10 minutes because you just answered my question for me. Like that was my big thing, was like trying to figure out the mindset. But you're right. It's just a matter of trying to avoid the loss and the feelings of
kids generally don't like feeling bad in any way anyway.
Right.
So they're going to try to avoid it like the fucking plague and not take any accountability.
It's really hard to deal with that because like
teaching accountability to a child is fucking awful. It's so hard to do.
I know. But we were talking about this on the way in. Like if my daughter loses something, she can get, and she used to be worse. She used to really get mad and be like, and throw the iPad down, a controller down.
She's so sweet. I can't imagine.
Well, she
grew pouting.
She grew out of that. Yeah. Like now she'll just be like, get upset, be a little sad about it, or she might be a little mad, but she'll just be like, oh, and she might stop, but she doesn't. She'll get mad. But my son will cheat if he can cheat. Like there are times where they're playing a game. I've played with him. We're playing a game, and I'll be doing better than him, and he'll come over and turn it off on me.
Oh, see, that would make me mad. That would actually make me mad.
Oh, it makes me very mad. And my daughter had a sleepover, and she had a couple friends over for her birthday, and they were all playing Twister, and he was running around and pushing them over, so they couldn't win.
I've seen him do that.
Yeah,
I've seen him do that.
They're doing play Twister, so they're trying to keep themselves up, and he'd go push them to try to knock them down, so they'd be out. Which at that point, I don't think he was even playing anymore. So I'm like, you're not winning because you're already up, and you're not.
I mean, it stinks of the same kid like when you're playing something and you're playing a make-believe game. There is no stakes. You're probably play fighting,
right?
Like doing Power Rangers or whatever. And he's like, no, I had the shield, and my shield came out when you did it. It's like, but I got you across the stomach. You're blocking your chest. No, it goes around my entire body, and then it gives me another life. And then there's two of me, and my other one has a sword and stabbed you while you did that.
And also, you're a worm, and I just stepped on you. Yeah, that's different. But you know what?
There are the adults like that are even fucking worse, though. So
I mean, that is very true.
Have you played a board game with an adult that's cheating? A board or a card game or anything?
I've played board games with adults that have gotten angry about what's happening, and even I'm not angry, but I
can get upset about.
I can get upset about like, oh, I can't believe I lost. Oh, I don't even. You know what it is for me? and I've talked to my wife about this too, and I'm gonna go back to the hockey game. I'm not gonna go into detail, but for the hockey game for me,
You
like
just keep teasing it.
well, when I play a game online and I'm playing against somebody for this day, I'm playing, and if I lose, I'm not mad that I lost, but I'm disappointed in the fact that I wasted the time.
Yeah.
I just spent 20 minutes, whatever it is, 25 minutes of my time doing something, and I didn't get the dopamine hit at the end as a reward. So I literally just wasted time. So that's kind of where I come, like when I'm playing a game, I might get that like upset in that way. Like I just, especially if it's a game I'm not enjoying. If it's a game I'm having fun with,
That
then who
might be
cares? You're having
different,
fun. But if it's a game where I'm like really not into it, I'm just trying to play to win, and then I'm like, oh my god, I just wasted an hour. But I've never played. I don't think I've ever played a board game with somebody that cheated.
Yeah, see, it's weird because I played with somebody a long time ago that was cheating. I forget what game it was. It was a stupid game. I think it was not Apples to Apples. You can't really cheat in that. It was something stupid
I'm
like
trying to
Apples
think in general
Apples.
for board games. It's hard to cheat in board
'Cause
games.
it wasn't Munchkin. It was some game, but they were hiding cards.
Okay, I was just gonna say
And, like equipment cards, and they were attaching it to themselves as they were playing.
I was gonna say with playing cards, I could see you could cheat because you could hide cards.
It wasn't necessarily playing cards, but it was like
same thing.
like
If you're
game.
playing a card game, you could hide cards.
And I'm just I'm looking at them. I'm just giving them the look because I want you to own up. That,
so you knew they were cheating. You're just staring at them.
Because who am I to tell you to out you? Who am I? You're not going to learn anything from that. You're going to become defensive and be a little bitch about it.
Yeah, but you learn something from. I would. I think I'd probably just be like, "You're fucking cheating." What the like?
So, you're like that. I don't like confrontation.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
So I'm just like watching them and like, what are you doing?
So wait. So did the person get caught?
So we played a little bit into it, and what I started doing, and I'm not generally slick with things, but we were drinking, so they were drinking. I wasn't drinking much. I started slipping their cards away and putting it in the bottom of the deck as we're playing.
Yeah, good.
And they still won because they were ahead. I forgot
they were cheating too good.
It's killing me what fucking game we were playing. It was in Colorado.
Humanity.
No, you can't cheat in Cards of Humanity. You just have to not.
Oh, yeah, everybody.
Like unless you like have like dad jokes in your phone.
I was gonna say you could palm like the good cards, like the ones about Nazis and like
cards,
dicks. I don't know
because they never fail, right?
Right, they never fail.
It might have been Munchkin. Now I'm thinking about it. It really might have been Munchkin because I'm just really good at Munchkin, and I also don't want to point out that somebody's cheating in Munchkin because one is kind of allowed if you're like.
Okay.
It's kind of allowed.
I guess one of those games.
But on top of that, again, I said I'm good at Munchkin, but I also don't want to seem like I'm a sore loser if I'm not winning.
Okay, that's fair.
So I'm just like, so what are you doing? And that's all I would say to her. Right, so what are you doing? How you doing? And I would slide cards away, and she still won, but I didn't kind of like talk like why are you fucking cheating, dude? Like, are you like you weren't? It wasn't even like one of the allowed cheats because I should have just called her out, and I know I should have.
Right.
But I'm a bitch, so I wasn't going to just like call her out. But I was like, it upset me. I lost respect for you because you're cheating.
It's so weird that you completely like flipped my mind now on
still
all of this. No, I mean just in general, like I never really thought about what the root of somebody who cheats is. And you're right, that's all it is. It's avoiding the feeling you get of loss. And you have to have that. You can't be one of those one of those type of people that can just brush off and be like, oh, whatever, no big deal. Mm-hmm. Which is subjective to what you're doing, what you're playing. Because I mean, like I said, there are things where I might be playing a game where when I lose, I really am like disappointed, and there are other things where I'm just like, oh, whatever, I don't give a fuck.
No, yeah, it depends on what. So, again, the amount of fun you're having, the activity.
But even just dealing with my son now and trying to guide him through that, knowing that that's what he's trying to avoid will be helpful to kind of navigate that problem.
With my daughter, so my kids have taken up playing Street Fighter 6 with me.
Yes,
there's dynamic.
We played the other day.
Yeah, and there's dynamic mode. There's dynamic mode, which the AI assists you playing. God, it's my daughter as jury. Assisted mode is fucking a nightmare.
I remember those modes where you really just kind of push buttons and it
the game does things. Yeah, and so my daughter like couldn't stand the idea of losing,
Sure.
and it was upsetting her. And with my son, the same thing. He'll like let me win. I'm like, no. Sometimes I might, if I'm feeling charitable, but
Right.
no, because you feel like you're going to feel like you're always going to win.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's okay to lose. When I lose to you guys, do I get upset? No, I get mad. Like, oh, I pressed the wrong button, or I did the wrong thing. But then, do I throw a tantrum? Do I cry? No, I'm just like, okay, that's it. My son has gotten better with that. My daughter depends on the day.
right.
But yeah, that's kind of trying to keep to that with them. Like, dude, it's okay to lose because then guess what? You're learning to be better at it.
No, I
Right.
mean, I've been trying to go down that route.
It's
That's-
hard. You have to be super fucking patient.
You know what? That's the route I went down with my daughter. You know, when she was just learning to play video games and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
hey, like we played It Takes Two. We still haven't finished it, but we played it
We're
forever.
still playing
We were
It
playing
Takes
for
Two.
fucking ever. But she would get really, she'd get really upset when we weren't able to, like, we get to the first boss and it was really hard. She's having a really hard time, and then we did it 20 times, and she would want to quit, and we finally got a point where we did it, and I was like, see, that's part of the game. You're losing, but you're getting better as you're doing it. So that's
And mind
an
you, getting
important
them
thing
to
bring
notice,
into it, too.
getting them to notice that success from that failure
Right.
is a big thing. Because a kid would just go, "Oh, I just did it because I can," They won't think that, no, this is a big accomplishment because I failed at this multiple
Sure.
times. Sometimes they get in like, "Yeah, I did it,"
Well,
but a lot of them don't because they play games like Roblox. There's no fail state.
I know. It's funny when
Real fail state.
when I'm playing games and my daughter will like watching sometimes. Like I was playing Horizon Forbidden West. When I was playing that, she really liked watching and seeing it, and she'd just be like, "How are you so good at this? How are you so good?" I said, like, I've been playing games for 30 years. It's like I failed like fucking crazy at these action platformers for months and years before I got to the point where I really intuitively just know what I'm doing. But it's what is at the root of that bad feeling when you lose something that's so benign and unimportant?
You kind of mentioned it. The loss of dopamine, because you kind of feel the opposite. You don't get that. Kids are addicted to
Yeah,
dopamine.
I guess you're right.
Kids
That really is it. You get that
dopamine.
bad feeling because you didn't get the positive feeling.
So it's almost like what I would have likened it to is like the feeling of loss. Like losing your favorite toy. Maybe not so dramatic as like losing a loved one, but like losing a favorite toy or having a really good dream and then waking up.
Alarm!
Or having one of my alarms. Having a really good dream and then waking up and that thing that you had in your dream is gone. Like it's sort of like that. Like you feel like a failure.
Sense. No,
Kids can't articulate that.
Yeah, even though the stakes are zero, you still have that feeling of failure, which is, you have that feeling of failure in you because when things are important, you need to have that feeling so that you have to work harder at it, or you have to get better, or you have to persevere.
And people don't want to do that either. And it's natural human. You don't want to have to try fucking harder.
No,
I already tried hard and I failed.
Right.
Why the fuck do it again?
But that's inherently why you have that feeling, is to keep you, to push you, to allow you to continue. Okay, I feel bad. I have to make this better by continuing to try to do it right. So even when the stakes aren't high, you still have that feeling, which brings us back to why people cheat, to avoid that feeling altogether. It's just such a weird thing to me, because I never thought of it that way. I always just thought of it as you're doing it to get the positive feeling. And how do you get the positive feeling knowing that it wasn't earned? Yeah. And I think for some people that's not a problem.
I think this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just saying, I think for some people, they don't have a problem with the fact that it wasn't earned. They just are happy. They're like, whatever, I won. I still feel good.
I mean, there's people like that, but I think it's also a matter of the way you perceive things. The reason why you go through life with your personality type, that's the way you work.
Right.
Like, what's the point in cheating? Because I'm not going to get that I did it because I didn't do it with my own hands kind of thing.
That makes sense.
I'm a person who generally avoids like problems and avoids those feelings, so I can understand where somebody would cheat to get something. My only thing is I'm way too introverted.
Right.
So if I was to cheat, because I when I was way younger, I used to cheat in D&D because I hated, after my first character died.
I think
after my first character died, I couldn't fucking handle it. I was just like, I fucking failed this character, this non-existent person, but I drew them up. I did all this backstory for them, and now they're fucking dead.
You're invested,
and it hurt. And I was like, so I would just like, I don't know how I used to like, I had like a set of fake dice,
Right.
and I used to play with those, and I'm like, God, it doesn't feel, it
not
doesn't
the same.
feel right.
Yeah, it's not the
It
same.
like now the character, like I'm boosting up, trying to like make myself feel the same, but
It's not
I
the
know
same
I'm gonna
feeling.
win, and
But you didn't earn it.
and I feel like inside my head, my friends know I'm cheating, so they just feel bad for me, or they
Yeah,
look down
right,
on me, and they're
right.
not going to tell
So
me.
that's a whole
And I
other thing.
become all paranoid. I'm like, you know what?
No, that makes sense.
There's this feeling is way fucking worse than losing
just
this
losing.
character.
Oh, you got 2 more minutes?
Yeah.
Just one thing I wanted to close on. It's just an interesting thing I wanted to ask you about. I was talking, so I started. Why am I putting this up? Who cares? I don't want to make it seem like it's. Anyway, I started seeing a new therapist a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
I've been doing therapy for fucking forever. Which I don't know why I'm like not going to talk about it. I think it should be something people should be very open about.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
stigmatized at all. But anyway, so I don't know why I felt like. Anyway, she said something to me that was weird, right? We were talking about anxiety, and I know both of us have issues with anxiety from time to time. And she said to me, you know, I think people need to stop looking at anxiety as this bad thing that we need to fix or get rid of. You know, it's part of our internal fight or flight response. It's how we react to things. It's hardwired into us. You know, and we need to stop treating it as a bad thing and just look at it as our body trying to tell us something and what information our body's trying to give us.
Yeah.
And stop just trying to fix it or make it go away. And I thought about it for a long time. I thought about it for like a week. And I was just like, okay, so is that the way I should think about it? When I have anxiety or I get anxious, it's not something I need to fix or make this feeling go away. I just need to understand better what my body's trying to tell me. And then I had this other moment where I just went, but wait, that's an internal mechanism of the human body, right?
Yes.
The internal mechanisms in parts of the human body can just fucking be broken.
Well, you saying that exactly what I was going to say if I was to talk to her, because I've started learning to be really like blunt with my therapist.
Right.
Is okay. That's your perspective. You have a naturally working anxiety reaction. I'm aware that I do not.
Okay.
So let's say that I have a gas pump. I have like 2 gas pumps.
Okay.
One pumps gas normally when I pull the trigger. The other one overfills every time. It doesn't. It starts like soon as I press it, and then when I let it go, it keeps pumping gas afterwards.
Right.
So now it's doing too much.
Yeah.
That is my anxiety. It's letting out way too much of that chemical.
It's broken.
And that's making,
Right.
or my brain has a wire loose or something that's making me obsess over something that I'm not fully conscious of. That's making me react.
I'm
So
glad I asked you about that.
colloquially, we've been using saying I have anxiety. Now maybe as a society we should change using the statement I have anxiety and saying I have an anxiety disorder.
Yes.
We could say that because
Well,
we all have anxiety.
There's a
she's
clear
right
difference.
about that.
There's a clear difference. You're right.
And as for her, she needs to be able to learn to identify if someone has an anxiety disorder or if they're using it as a crutch
So
for whatever other problem they have.
I 100% agree with you. So the next time I talked to her, I asked her that. I said, hey, I've been thinking about this a lot. Because when you said it to me, I was like, that's really a view on anxiety in general that I never thought about before. I said, but I kept thinking about it. And I
It
thought
just
to
didn't
myself,
sit right.
I said, but can't it just be broken? Like, sure,
Yeah.
I have a fight or flight response in me that is causing anxiety, but can't that be fucked up and just not right? And she was like, she kind of was like, well, yeah. And then we talked for a while longer, and I'm not going to get into the details,
Yeah.
but then at the end of it, she was like, well, see, that's why you have this problem because of this stuff. So you do have a problem with it. It's not. And I'm just like, okay.
I think she was using it as like using you as a soundboard for her grievance of like people using terms.
Maybe
not in the because people using the term depression and like
sure.
Which created this weird war where like influencers are telling people they don't have depression and saying depression doesn't exist, and then there's the other side of these bitches that are just using depression as an excuse,
right.
and as a badge of being a different minded person.
I guess it just bothered me that like, would it make more sense to get more information to be able to assess them, be like, okay, this person has some whatever it is, trauma or the brain activity fuck up or something
Yeah.
that causes an anxiety disorder, rather than just coming right out of the gate and being like, well, anxiety is just your body trying to. So when I have these really bad anxious moments and I feel terrible and it's about stupid shit that doesn't matter and it doesn't make sense to me, I just have to interpret my. No, it's actually fucked
I
up.
think she was treating it as if you were on baseline and not that you have a disorder first.
No, I think you're right.
So it could be just a miscommunication on
I think it
her
was,
part,
but it's
where she was communicating it to you, since you are a logical person.
Sure.
She was communicating it to you as somebody who doesn't have a disorder.
Okay, that makes sense. It just bothered me that I was like, I wish you had waited to bring that up until after you knew everything.
Yeah, she probably shouldn't have done that.
Better
but
then, like I said,
there are people too.
Agreed.
That's why I change therapists sometimes, because I become friends with my therapist. I'm like, we can't. This doesn't help.
Okay. I don't want to keep taking time. That's what happened with the last one I saw. And I said that to her. I said, we've been seeing each other for 10 years. And there were other factors too, but I said, I'm starting to feel like I've plateaued and I'm getting too comfortable to the point where I feel you're going to judge me for things I talked to you about. And she kind of threw it back at me and was like, well, I've never given you any reason to think I would judge you, have I? I mean, have I ever presented anything that would make you think I would judge you? And I said, it's like, no, but
now you did.
But that doesn't change the way I feel. My emotional.
You would think she would understand.
That's how I feel. Yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't have to be logical or have you having caused it. Yeah. It's just how I feel. So it's funny you say that, because it was the same thing that happened to me. I got to a point where I plateaued. And
I feel like any good therapist will be okay with you seeing another therapist. I know you're their money. You are essentially their cow. They need to get money out of you, whatnot. But in the end, good therapist should be okay with you seeing other therapists.
Well, it does seem like a logical point to reach where you become too comfortable.
Yeah, and that's really what.
Especially 10 years.
I told my current therapist, I have a problem. When I start feeling like I'm going to be judged, I will do whatever it takes for me to avoid that. I will lie straight to your face without fucking blinking.
It's very smart.
If I feel really anxious about something, it's taking a lot out of me to tell you this about myself.
I'm going to tell my new one the same thing, just to make sure it's clear ahead of time, because it's, like I said, it's definitely something that can happen for me.
It's an uncomfortable thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't see my therapist as often as I'd like to, because everything goes on. I have to be flexible.
Sure, of course.
But and I've mentioned this I think before, she's pissed me off on multiple occasions, and that's actually a good thing. As much as I'd be mad at her in the moment, it helps me regulate the fact that she understood what I said to her.
I get that. That makes sense, because this was only my third appointment that I had with her just the other day. And I forget exactly, but she said something to me, and she was like, I know that might be a little hard to hear, and you might be annoyed with me for saying that. And I said the same thing. I was like, no. I don't want you to ever hold back or feel like you can't tell me something because you're going to hurt my feelings or make me uncomfortable. I want to know what you're thinking. I think she said, I forget what it was, but she said something like, I feel like you're just making up excuses. Like you're just making excuses for the way you feel rather than just
that's actually the same feel. Arguments her and I have have been the same thing.
And I said, you know what? You're fucking dead on. You're absolutely right.
Oh no, I argued with her. In the moment, I could not stand the fact that she.
There are definitely situations in which I would be arguing. It was, but when she said it, in the back of my head, I kind of already felt like I knew that, and I was just like, "No, you're right." I was thinking.
I'm glad that you had the wherewithal to do it. I'm
not always, definitely always.
It took me a good diatribe to go. Okay, fine. I'm going to try.
It's such I don't know. I know there are a lot of people that are totally think that it's all dumb and it's bullshit and it's you're a pussy or whatever. There's lots of different topics on it, but I really think it forces you to think about things that you're not normally a person that you would normally confront or think about.
Yeah,
and sometimes you need somebody to just be blunt with you and be like, "Look, dude, this is what you're doing."
Yeah, because there's no other heavier way of cheating than cheating yourself out of your own feelings or your own thoughts.
You always bring it back to the topic at the end. You're so goddamn good at it. I love the way you always wrap it up like that. All right, well, that's the end of the podcast, guys. Thank you so much for listening. A couple just what do we call it?
Affirmations? Are we doing affirmations?
Oh, well, we did do our affirmation, but I got a jingle that I've got in my head for that. So we're gonna do affirmations quick. And I already had it in my head from last time I was thinking about it. I am incredibly impressed with your ability to just drive through stress and anxiety and whatever's fucking on your mind, like you've been dealing with all this shit, and just fucking go through it. Just be like, I feel this way, but I still have to fucking go this way and get these things done. It's fucking crazy impressive. I can't fucking do that. So the fact that you're able to just deal with all of these stressors and anxieties and just still do what you need to do, it's fucking unbelievable.
You know, honestly, I actually really appreciate that.
No,
'cause
100%.
I am in a emotionally vulnerable state, but I do appreciate that, honestly.
I don't have that capacity, and it's fucking crazy to me that
It's
you do.
very rare where I ever get a thank you for that. I just get like, kind of like a, what the fuck you doing? Take care of yourself. You
Of
need
course.
to take care of yourself. You know, that
Oh,
kind
of course,
thing. Like,
of course.
I
Well,
can't.
you do. You need to take care of yourself.
No, it's true, but that's
But
not the response I need. Like,
You are completely willing to sacrifice, and not only sacrifice taking care of yourself, but just basically say, like, these things are all pressing on me, and I still have to fucking keep moving.
Yeah.
I can't just let it get me down. And it's crazy.
That's the one good thing I have to say I got from my dad. Like, the one, I love my dad. Don't get me wrong. It's just that's one thing that he's always done that I think that's what I took from him.
Well,
But for you, I have to say, dude, the fact that your level of patience with our friendship means a lot, because I'm like, I will try to find excuses to not do this, to not record,
oh, dude.
because I'll let things get in the way, or I won't respond promptly enough, or I'll be a little like upset, and you'll show concern that I don't get from anybody. Like, you'll just text me like, "Are you okay?"
You're my pal,
Even if
dude.
there's nothing wrong with me.
No, I know.
It makes me feel weird. I'm like, is he like my girlfriend? What the fuck's this?
Now you're my boyfriend.
Because nobody
Wait. We're boyfriend. Just me, wow.
Yeah. nobody does that for me, and that's something I just
Well,
don't
good.
get that. So I find it awkward, and it's mainly because I don't want it, but I need it.
You need it.
So
Well, I'm glad I can
appreciate
fill that role for you. You're my bud. That's all I can say.
it. Same here, buddy.
All right. Before I start crying, man.
You stupid
Couple just,
affirmations.
show notes. Just a couple quick housekeeping bits. We moved the store to TeePublic, so it's much easier to use now. It's a lot quicker to just pick a shirt, pick the design you want, and the fit, and all that good stuff. Check it out if you get the chance. I guess that's the only housekeeping
Show note.
Show note. That's the only show note. Send us the fucking emails, man. We want some more emails. We want to hear what you guys
I
have
don't care
to
if
say.
you just call. I do care if you call us liberal cucks over and over again. That
Yeah,
would
send us an
actually
email
bother me.
telling us we're liberal cucks, but expand on that. I don't
Yeah, I
want
would like an expansion on that.
just liberal cucks isn't enough.
we we'll only get a good answer out of that. I mean,
Yeah,
that's-
I want an explanation as to why we're liberal cucks, which is really funny because I don't consider myself. I probably lean a little bit.
Generally, as I said, I have some liberal views, but I hate liberals.
Yeah, I don't
I don't like
consider
either.
myself
Like,
I never watched my wife have sex with another man, so I mean, there goes that part. Yeah. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.